Morning Express. Now let's delve into more discussions with regards to the 2025 appropriation bill. And at this point, we're being joined virtually by Mallam, Ishaq, Yahaya on the line. Hello and a very good morning to you. It's wonderful to have you join us on Morning Express.
A very good morning, connecting me this morning. Thank you.
And welcome back to the last time we had a conversation. There were some projections you made with regards to the 2025 budget proposal that was about to be presented to the National Assembly as at the time when we had that discussion. Did you follow up with the presentation yesterday, and what are your comments on it?
Well, if I am to comment straight to your point, to the point you want me to make, first of all, good morning, Nigerians, and then good morning, everyone around the station and everywhere, and then globally. Yes, I followed up, and what I got from the presentation yesterday, the budget was estimated at or put to be 47.9 trillion, and that is going to be then it was set to be budget for national restoration, and that is the caption of the budget, and that also the current perspective of the inflation.
Yes.
From 43.6 is going to be
15%.
It has been emphasized by Mr. President in 2025 is going to be around 15.
Yes.
And that, it carries some of these goodies. Security is going to take away 4.9 trillion, and infrastructure is also taking 4.06 trillion. Education is going with 3.5 trillion, and health is also going with 2.48 trillion, at generally standing in 14.5 trillion. What actually will be the case in terms of 2015?
Yes.
Of course, GDP. It was just being put in place like just what I said, and there was a comment by Mr. President that the improvement of this year is based on the reduction on the importations of petroleum products, and also as well as improve in the exportation based on the fact that we had improvement on the security situation in the country. That's the little I can get from the Mr. President budget of 2025 budget proposal, and then had it at the deficit. The deficit is also going to be around 13 trillion.
13.13 trillion
yes,
naira.
Yes, and I think it's going to be like around 28 or 28% of the budget. That is what talking about the deficit in the budget.
Now, Ishaq Mallam, the president termed this budget the budget or restoration budget when he presented it yesterday. One of the questions on the minds of many Nigerians is restoration from what exactly? Now, I believe the opposition, the PDP, the Labour Party, and every other opposition member is also asking the same question, as experts like yourself and the opposition have faulted the budget, calling it unrealistic budget proposals. Do you share the same thoughts? Is the budget unrealistic, and what the term a budget of restoration?
You see, the budget is coming as it is typically not practical, but in a theoretical form. But in that sense, there are some senses in theoretical form of it. And also people want to see the practical form of it, of doing things. So in the restoration point angle, the policy, the government is trying to send a message that there was some of the inappropriations of things from the past, and now be rest assured that this will be an improving economy as you religiously followed it based on the theoretical angle presented.
Well, based on the theoretical angle presented, there are some irregularities. But earlier, I had, gotten some takes from our guest that joined just before you, and we had dissected quite a number of items on the list, which you also mentioned: defense and security, gulping 4.921 trillion naira, infrastructure gulping 4.06 trillion naira, and health. Well, these were the ones that we discussed. I want to talk about health, which is pegged at 2.48 trillion naira for 2025. Many persons have argued that the amount of money earmarked for health, in as much as it falls under the category of one of the sectors that is taking up the hugest chunk of money within the budget, is a little bit low, considering how a little bit backward our health sector has been, which has also influenced the Japa syndrome of many medical personnel leaving the shores of the nation for better and greener pastures outside of Nigeria. What are your thoughts?
Yes, because the championing and campaigning of the current government, it's all about money making machine kind of generation. And then also, of course, we are aware that there is this issue of security. So you can see the security budget is a little bit higher than almost every one of the sector being assigned. So, but in terms of secure health, of course, like most of these guys, the leadership of Nigeria, they don't in any way have their own hospital domiciled in Nigeria. They are concerned with what they can take outside. So, like what we have been championing, that's why you are having the dollar and naira in trouble when you look at it. You know, people of their caliber, of the executive and cream de la cream, moving outside Nigeria, going to the outside world, getting their health and the rest. And that's why it's also translated clearly in the budget. So you can complain, I can complain, but there's nothing to do about it because generally the explanation I made now, I
Yes.
think it will go down well to each and every one of them because it's even Mr. President himself, he's not taking care of himself in Nigeria. So if you talk about that, I don't think it's something that will be of importance. So for us, we can say that because where our hospital is domiciled here, we go to hospital here, we actually have our advice in terms of health here, our health here. But most of these guys, they go outside. So they budgeted for running costs more so that they could go and take care of themselves outside. So I don't think it's a something that would be surprising to you and I or anybody. So
It's
except if we can cushion that.
it's certainly not surprising to have defense and security and infrastructure gulping up over 4 trillion naira, and then health gulping up just a little over 2 trillion naira. Now the next item on the list is education. I want us to sort of link health and education. I cited that most medical personnel who go through school in Nigeria, graduate, start off their careers as medical practitioners, then leave the country, do this due to the lack of proper remuneration and lack of proper system, start to better their lives within the country. In relation to education, maybe in setting up, colleges of health or university teaching hospitals and the likes. Education is taking up 3.52 trillion naira. If we merge this with the 2.48 trillion naira for health, it's a little over 6 trillion naira. Do you think that maybe within the next 1 year, we will see some reasonable amount of change within our health sector and education sector in terms of, development?
So going back to, like we were rightly trying to point at education.
Yes.
As at far back, it has become culture for Nigerians that anybody in the government and the as a high-ranking officer and executive, most of these children, their children go to outside for education,
Outside the shores of Nigeria.
yeah, outside the country. So at a moment, as at 2018, 2019, we have about 71,000 students outside the country. I think presently we have over that or short of that. But I don't know, maybe due to insecurity and whatever, or something. But we can see it's also the problem uh, that we are facing. Some of these people controlling the hems of affairs of this country, they all send their children outside. So they also don't look at that problem as a serious case. And that is why they can even maybe rush to pass it. They will definitely pass this bill without questioning this character based on what is vividly shown here. And I tell you, just like the health and education, if you look at the chunk part of it, they also go outside, they all go outside to seek for it outside. Their children are they themselves. So I think it is the same case of the health and education.
Ishaq, Mallam, we have just about 5 minutes to wrap up the conversation. I'm afraid we will have to take the live presentation of the president's the presentation of the budget by the president of the National Assembly yesterday. But let's talk about agriculture. Uh, a headline story on the Guardian newspaper this morning says that President Tinubu eyes 15% inflation rate from 49.7 trillion naira budget, which you have cited. Now he's set to spend 2% of that money on agric. The last time you were on the program, we talked a little bit about the proposed waiver on food import duty tax by the president, which is yet to see the light of day. And now with a whole 2% being earmarked to agriculture and with the creation of ministries like the Ministry of Livestock and all, is the president really actively taking, deliberate steps to ensure that food insecurity is curtailed in the country?
To be serious, I don't think there's any seriousness on that. But nevertheless, there are other programs by the government, I don't know, in terms of security to create an enabling environment. But I tell you, that is not all. Even though part of the security is taking some part of the infrastructure, taking some part of agriculture, like the agro rangers, Department of Security, Civil Defense.
Yes.
They ought to play an active role, but I think they are silent. I don't know, and there's no budget on that, to really because they are trained for such purpose and to defend also the agricultural sector in terms of farming, the farmers themselves, their lives and property. And that should be given seriousness. But 2%, in short, the backbone of the economy and the nation, in short, the entire thing is the agriculture.
Yes.
But here, we are, like you said, even by mere saying it, that there is a it's not serious there. So, but nevertheless, what we are saying or what we are going to be telling them this time around, maybe to open up their eyes to see clearly, it is important that the the policy not only just to mark some number of percentage, but there are some policies that it is abnormal to the sector, and if each and every one of the sector or the business of the day or the business of a country like Nigeria should do a serious thing, it should go back to the policy of the percentage. I mean, the 30% interest, 30% interest rate, and what well, the declaration of the MPR and whatever. It should be of a different thing, because if the agriculture have uh, below even 4% or 5% or 7%, one digit is not a problem. I think it should be there so that without even budgeting anything, if the sector should get this policy right, I think it will go a long way, because it's going to produce cheaper goods. And then this cheaper goods, of course, will be sold at cheaper rate. And then if it's sold at cheaper, people will get food and people will be okay. And that's the problem in the country. And when you talk about food security, I think it's the main thing everywhere in the world. So if actually they are doing anything, if the policy in terms of agricultural activities should change. And me in particular, I'm championing, campaigning for 4% or 5% marks in terms of this agriculture. And again, there is every reason why you can even find situation where you cannot even put an interest to what somebody, or like talking about maybe what you can keep before you can get that money.
Yes.
You know, people should be aware that they can come and get this money and go to farm, and food will be available. Exportation in terms of commodity will be largely accepted in the world, because the quality is our problem, not the quantity. So most of the time is the the quantity.
In closing, Mallam Ishaq, the federal government targets 34.82 trillion naira in revenue to be able to fund the budget, which is pegged at 47.9 trillion naira. Now, it has also added that it is anticipating or looking to get foreign loans of up to 13 trillion naira to be able to supplement, the other parts of the money that might not really come from internally generated revenue across the country. We have talked about borrowing. You have cited that borrowing is not bad, but with the debt servicing that is already crushing Nigeria, is this borrowing a step in the right direction?
Anyway, we are at the currently our debt position now is about
Debt servicing
91
position.
91 $91 billion. So if actually we are to be serious, like every economy doesn't have any problem with regards to borrowing, but if such borrowing can be justified, okay, if such borrowing can be justified, but in our case, people have lost confidence in terms of social confidence, social issue with regards to our maladministrations, of this nature, like shenaniganism, in terms of our money being, corrupted, the way and manner we make use of this borrowed money from the past government to this government, people, and issue to the previous government to this government, people are not trusting the whole thing. So there is no confidence in that. And that's why when you talk about borrowing in terms of the perspective of economy, the economic perspective has no issue, has no problem with regards to borrowing. But the something that is is of our culture in the economy of Nigeria is that people are of the perspective that some people somewhere they are stealing this money, and that is why everybody is not interested of any government, anybody borrowing anything from anywhere,
Oh,
because we are sufficient to do things ourselves,
all
but we
right.
are not doing it the right way. And
All,
that's the clarity about that.
all right, Mallam Ishaq Yahaya, I must thank you so much. This is all time will permit us to take, but it's been wonderful deliberating on this issue with you.
I thank you so much for connecting me this morning.
Thank you.